Hi, my name is Ryan, and welcome to this really special video called How to Save $4,000 to $10,000 in 5 minutes flat. If you're looking to buy or even lease a car, you have to watch this video. This is Tommy Taylor I'm with right now, and he is the founder of Inside Car Buying, and he has something called his 5 biggest price patterns. And the reason why Tommy knows this is because he was the top car salesman for a couple of the biggest dealerships in our area, in the most competitive area. So he has more insight than just about anyone. I mean, Tommy, how long were you on the floor selling cars, like learning the inside of this world?
Just about 15 years spent on the selling floor, typically every day negotiating with customers, finding new ways to make money on them by me knowing the hidden secrets that they don't know.
Yeah, because the way dealerships make money are a lot of these price patterns, which we're going to be revealing today. And this is, and you're really the first person to step out of the industry to say, this is what's going on. And this is what's really getting the car dealers annoyed. I mean, they really want you shut down.
This is all the stuff that goes on, what you don't see behind closed doors, like when the salesman leaves the desk and he says, hey, I got to check with my manager. This is all the stuff that they're talking about, how we can profit on this one customer sitting at your desk and how we can make the most amount on them.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about 5. In reality, there's more than that, but here are the 5 biggest ones. Let's start here, Tommy. Explain this to me. How are dealerships making money on interest rate?
Well, it's not just the selling price anymore. One of the biggest ways that the dealerships make money is the interest rate or the money factor on a lease. The dealerships have the ability to mark that up to anywhere 1, 2, or 3% more than the actual buy rate they get from the bank. If the car buyer isn't aware of what the buy rate is, they could make a huge mistake, and it costs them thousands of dollars in the long run.
So before this services you offered, like, all right, I'm interested in buying a Porsche, but how am I supposed to know this stuff?
For you to find out the exact information, you'd have to call up several car dealerships, compare the average number, and hopefully it's the right number. But everybody's going to tell you a different number because everybody's looking to pad the true cost of the money factor rather than give you the actual amount where they wouldn't be making anything.
But again, you're the one who knows the numbers. You know the numbers, and this is why they're sweating and they're nervous that this video is out there. Okay, so that's price pattern number 1. Number 2 is the bank fee. I've heard about this before, but I'm still not even sure. Explain this.
The bank fee, everybody pays it on a lease. Whenever you lease a new car, there's always a bank fee. Dealerships have the ability to mark this up by $300. It's a very easy profit for the dealership. Standard bank fee could be anywhere between $495 and as much as $895. They add an extra $300 to it. $300 for every car they sell throughout the month. They sell 100 cars, $300 more, and they're making a ton of money. This is just a very small detail that brings them a lot of profit.
Yeah, and it could save us a lot of money, which is what we like to do. Price pattern number 3 is the selling price. I always thought the selling price is the selling price. So tell me how you can save money on selling price.
Well, everybody always says, oh, well, let me try to get the selling price as close to the invoice as possible. Well, the invoice has been posted on the internet for years. Tens of thousands of websites will give you the invoice price. There's the real cost of the car is thousands behind the invoice price. So it's very important to get the proper selling price so that you're maximizing the discount on the car.
So if you go into a dealership or you call and they say, hey, look, this is the invoice price. It's $40,000. That's not really the invoice. That's not their true cost. So how can they say that?
Well, they say it because the typical salesperson gets paid on a certain amount of profit margin, and it's usually between the MSRP and the invoice. So they consider that the invoice is their cost on the car because they don't get paid on any of the incentives behind it. Also, a lot of salespeople don't know exactly how much money is behind the invoice price, but I reveal all that to you.
Because you know.
I know.
The next price pattern are rebates. Now, this is a controversial one. Tell me a little bit about rebates.
It's funny, some of the rebates are actually published, other ones are hidden. And I know a lot of the big companies like GM and GM, Cadillac, Ford, Chevy, what they do is they have all these extra incentives every month that they'll apply, that they'll give to the dealership, and they'll say, hey, here's an extra $1,000 to buy down the money factor or to buy down the lease price on the vehicle because it's not selling as well. And if you're not aware of that, sometimes it could be as much as $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
And again, these are rebates that the public might not know about unless you're really. I mean, you have to spend hours and hours and hours learning this stuff to even know about these rebates.
Yes, and these are the rebates that they don't disclose. So this is something that you can't find out online. And when you go to a dealership, they'll give you a monthly payment. They're not telling you exactly how much of that incentive that they're getting from the manufacturer that they're actually using towards your lease. They don't have to give you the full amount. They can keep half or sometimes more as profit, if not the whole thing.
Now, okay, so if this is not really public information, then how do you know?
Years of experience comparing the right numbers and the right answers from certain dealerships, and just doing this on a daily basis. I mean, it's my life.
Okay, so by you going to the dealerships, knowing the prices, seeing the fluctuations, you know that there's a rebate going on, and you could find out. So you're like our secret spy to the dealerships. And the final one, this is a nice one here, the incentives. Tell us about the incentives.
Yes, sometimes there are really big incentives on cars. It could be a competitive conquest offer for $1,000. It could be something where they're offering you 2 or 3 months worth of your car payments if you jump into another car, and you don't have to trade your car in. It's just whatever the value is of your current monthly payment, and they'll give you 2 or 3 times that to get into a new car. So the incentives can vary drastically.
But I'm a little confused. Who's actually getting incentives? Are these dealers getting incentives from the car manufacturer saying, hey, sell X amount of cars and we'll give you a little bit more money?
Some of them come from the manufacturer. Some of them come from the banks that are holding the leases.
Okay. So again, these are things the general public has no idea about. But Tommy Taylor is on the scene.
We find out all the time, and we always find out the exact dollar amount.
So now what I want to do is this is really cool. You have a service called these do-it-yourself, the DIY reports, where for less than $100, someone could go online, spend 3 or 4 minutes filling out the form, and you literally do this for them. You do all the work for them. You go, you find the incentives. So let's go through. Here's a sample. This is an actual sample report you did for, you can see here, a BMW 5 Series. Obviously, for integrity of your clients, we crossed out their names. However, this is an actual report you did. And what I want to do is just kind of go through this. Again, this is for a lease. We'll talk about a sale in a few minutes. So if you're looking to lease, let's start here with the MSRP and the vehicle cost. Just run us through this.
Right, so this particular car has a sticker price of $63,370. The proper selling price, taking almost all of the profit out for the dealership, would bring it to about $55,765. And when I say almost all the profit, that's much less than the invoice cost price on the car.
Okay, so again, the general public is only going to see the MSRP price. They have no – the vehicle cost is what you found out, right?
Correct. What they're going to see online if they went to a couple of different websites is maybe the invoice price, but the invoice price on there is very well padded.
Okay, so that's the first part. Show us here the rebate as a cap reduction. What does that mean?
The rebate is taxable, so they use it as a cap cost reduction. They don't always tell you what rebates are applicable and what rebates can be combined. That's something that you'd have to find out, and that's something that we do for you.
Next one, the disclosed rate.
Yes, that's the money factor. That's usually the interest rate on any kind of lease. They do it in a form of a money factor. It makes it harder for the customer to find out what the actual interest rate is, and this is something that can be marked up to it goes by basis points. So this one has a money factor of 0.00130, and this can be marked up as much as 0.00295,
which adds up to, especially if you're looking at a lease for 36 months, this adds up to a lot of money over time. About
$150 more per month to your payment.
Okay, $150 per month times 36 months is, I don't have a calculator, but that's thousands and thousands, around $4,000 or so.
Yeah, a bit more than that, yes.
Okay, next one is something here called the residual, which is base.
Residual is actually what the lease is calculated on. You want to make sure you get the proper residual for the term that you're using, and also the right mileage. So that's something that the dealerships really can't play with too much. But you just want to make sure it's the proper rate and that they're quoting you for the right term. Dealerships are always finagling. Okay, I'll give you a residual for a 36-month term. When you go to the dealership, all of a sudden they stretch it out to 39 months and they capitalize on the difference.
Okay. Next, we've got total mileage allowed. So how is this money saver?
It's a money saver because usually all the national ads that you see or anything that you see in the paper is always based upon the lowest amount of mileage allowed for that lease. And they always advertise sometimes 7,500 or 10,000 miles a year. So it's important when you're shopping for a car, make sure you find out how many miles they're quoting you for the exact dollar amount.
Okay, next one here is the acquisition fee.
the acquisition fee. So this is the bank fee. This is where they could pad that up to $300. So it's very important to know what the actual cost is on the bank fee.
Okay, so for example, you're saying here it's $725, but what they might charge you is $1,000.
Yes, $1,025, and that's normally the case. In fact, a lot of dealerships now, what they'll do is they'll even advertise a higher bank fee. So when they're advertising or they're doing some kind of ads in the newspaper, they'll advertise a higher bank fee with the profit already built in, so it looks more realistic when you come through the door.
Yeah, and again, this is why the dealers don't like this information. They don't like you walking in with this because, and they say to your customers, "How did you get this information? Who's giving this to you?" And here we highlighted the term, which is 36 months.
Right. It's always important, once again, to know the term that you're being quoted on. Dealerships are very, very quick to just flip it when you come through the door, whether you're shopping over the phone or you're shopping online, or even when you're standing there and you're making a deal. Nothing's finalized until you actually see it in writing. It's very easy for the dealership to switch you from a 36-month lease to a 42-month lease to a 48-month lease, and not realizing maybe the warranty on the car will run out after 36 months. You're on a 42-month lease. You'll be on a lease with a warranty for 6 months.
This is why you want Tommy Taylor having your back. And here we have something called the doc fee. What's that?
The doc fee, this is a pretty standard fee, but dealerships again have the ability to mark this up. Some states will call it a conveyance fee. Again, basically pure profit. This is how they make extra money. And standard doc fee in the state of New York is $75. I know if you go around to other states and some like Connecticut will charge you $295, $395. Same thing with New Jersey.
So this again, it's a question of being an educated consumer. But being an educated consumer, for me, I'm busy. I run a business. I have 4 kids. I don't have time to spend 20 hours researching this stuff, nor do I want to. And that's why I love your service so much. And now all of my cars I get through you. So now this is a different report. This is someone who's looking to buy a car instead of lease. So right here it says this is for a 2013 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara. Base price $31,295. I see here MSRP $40,000. So take us through a little bit the MSRP and the selling price.
So basically, here's a customer who said, this is the car I'm looking for. So after adding up all the options, I confirmed the selling price with him. Well, actually, I confirmed the MSRP with him, and the sticker price on the vehicle in the showroom would be $40,215. With the proper discount on the car, he should be at $36,835. Again, proper sales tax for where he lives. Then the cost of new plates, the doc fee. It's important to make sure you get the proper doc fee so the dealership doesn't mark that up. Standard New York State tire fee and New York State inspection gives you a grand total $39,874. Then for this month, they have a competitive lease conquest rebate, which is taxable, so that's why we bring it in at the end. Minus another $1,000 gives you now the door price of $38,874.
Okay, so to break this down, because you do this in your sleep, for someone who's not that sophisticated like me, I'd walk into the dealership and they'd say, "Hey, the MSRP, the invoice price is $40,215. Hey, we're having a big special, so we'll knock $500 off it." And I'm walking out thinking, I got a great deal. I got a below sticker. When in reality, after taxes and everything, we're looking at $43,000 or so. Where you're saying you do this report, I could take this to the dealership and say, "Look, I want this $38,874, and here are the numbers."
Exactly. That's what's so good about these reports is that the dealership's always saying, how do you know what this price should be? How do you know? And they always ask, let me see it in writing. Well, this makes it easy. There are no secrets. Now you're on now finally the playing field is level. You basically print this out. You bring it to the dealership. They're not going to want to see the paper. It's kind of ugly, but it is the right number, and you will get the deal done.
Yeah. So you're walking in with proof, saying this is it. This is the deal. And this is what I want to do. And it's just amazing because this is someone who recently went through your service. And I'll just read this quickly. I bought Tommy's DIY report in December 2012 and used them to negotiate the purchase of a Mercedes-Benz E-Class, and it worked out great. Armed with the DIY report, I contacted my friend, a car salesman, who works at a BMW dealership in Lower Westchester. I was asking for a zero-down lease plan. My friend agreed, and when I went to the dealership, suddenly there were out-of-pocket charges, tax, title, registration fees. I was told that BMW doesn't ever have lease agreements with zero down. I felt lied to. I decided to bluff them and use a DIY report to put pressure on the sales manager to make a deal, or I would take my business elsewhere. I ended up with all the upgrades I wanted, paying for less than a bare bones model and no money down. The dealership management was not happy about this deal. That's why they come after you, Tommy. These two experiences have convinced me that I will use Tommy's DIY reports for every car that I'm going to buy forward. I consider it insurance to get the best deal. Do yourself a favor and call Tommy and know what price range you are working in before you start car shopping. And this is from Chris Confresi in Westchester County, New York. And this is just one example. I mean, if you go to InsideCarbuying.com and look at the testimonials, there are hundreds of them of people who save a lot of money. And you can see here, Chris on an E-Class saved $10,000.
$10,000 off the sticker price. It was an unbelievable deal.
Yeah. And his price was, he bought one of Tommy's DIY reports, and if you buy one, it's just $97. That's a one-time fee. You could save thousands and thousands of dollars. Tommy does all the research for you, and he gives it exactly what we just showed you before.
And what's nice about the turnaround time is less than 24 hours. So even if you're planning on buying a car and you're doing this on a Friday, you want to go shopping. I know big shopping days on Saturdays for dealerships. You can literally send it to me Friday morning. By Saturday morning, you'll have the actual numbers. There's no better way to walk into a dealership than being prepared with the correct numbers. You turn over the paper. You say, hey, this is what I want to pay for the car. And then you look at their puzzled faces as they wonder how you actually know their cost.
So if you're interested in buying a car, I highly, highly recommend you do Tommy's DIY report. Just click on the link there on the right and you'll see it. And he does offer discounts for 2 or even 3 reports. Tommy, why would someone want to buy more than one DIY report?
That's a great question. A lot of people in between 2 and 3 different cars, they really can't decide which one they want. One of the big deciding factors is always which car can I get the best price for. So here, if you pick out 2 or 3 cars and I give you the actual cost on 3 different cars and you see, wow, I'm comparing maybe like a Chevy Equinox for $350 a month. Meanwhile, I can go get a Mercedes-Benz GLK for the same money. Wow, I'd definitely go with the Mercedes. It's a good thing I'm finding that out ahead of time.
Yeah, it's good. And you live in New York, but you do this for people all over the country, right? It doesn't matter what state you're in.
Nationwide.
Nationwide. Tommy Taylor is going to find the deal for you. So again, if you're looking to buy a car, I would not buy a car unless you have a DIY report. I would never, ever buy one without a DIY report. I highly suggest you do. So take advantage. Click the link on the right. Click buy 1, buy 2, buy 3 if you're thinking of getting more than one car, and you will not be sorry. Tommy, thank you so much for your time. And as a consumer, I want to personally thank you for doing this for all of us, for leveling the playing field.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Get it now, the DIY report for just $97. Start saving money. Take care.